Sweet check by Karakusis. Ludo gonna do what Ludo do.
He bets the better part of $500,000.
Karakusis just making sure there's no straight flush out there.
All in.
He shoves. He check raises all in.
I love Karakusis' line till that moment. I think a smaller raise gets paid, a shove probably never.
Tough to fold the second nuts. He does fold.
Yeah, buddy.
Nice one.
Great lay down by Ludovic Geilich.
On the flop, I thought he was going to pass, and I said to myself, he done something, and he called, and I went, I think he's flopped it. I went and said to myself, but I'm not sure. What double it, man.
Brutal river anyway, isn't it, really?
Would have been some check back if I made the check. I don't think I'm ever checking that back, ever. Nice play. Nice answer.
Good name.
Georgius, a little sleeper over there, lying in the weeds. I got my eye on this kid.
Karakusis now big chip leader, with Geilich and Ulatalo pretty much tied for second, as we head over to the secondary table, where Javier Atayo is all in and racing against Jeff Rossiter.
And the way Atayo's been running, more like Atayo.
And there is an ace on the flop. Atayo now drawing to 2 outs. Looking for a jack on the river. It's a 10.
Good game.
The Spaniard is out in 11th.
Time to say goodbye to Atayo.
He will collect just shy of £40,000. 10 players remain in the EPT London main event, which means we are 2 eliminations away from the final table, 1 elimination away from the final redraw of the tournament. And Jeff Rossiter is now second on the leaderboard. If you want to play in an EPT event, go to pokerstars.com. There are qualifiers every day.
All right, I already know where I want to go next.
Now, before you say anything, just in case you haven't already learned your lesson, Oxford Circus is also not a real circus. Covent Garden is not a garden. And Elephant and Castle does not involve 4 towers and a drawbridge being guarded by an elephant.
Okay, let's go home then.
Straight into the action here at the pokerstars.com EPT London main event. At our secondary table, Sen Ung has shoved and been called by Jeff Rossiter.
Domination Nation, unbelievable.
Ung's best hope is to hit a 5 or see a clubby flop. Only 1 club out there.
Not enough clubs.
He needs a 6, 4 or 5 to survive. But that's a queen, so Sen Ung exits in 10th place for nearly £40,000 and we're down to the final 9.
Going out on the unofficial final table bubble has got to be unpleasant. Unfathomable, really.
Jeff Rossiter is now the chip leader. It's time for the 9 remaining players to take their new seat assignments up on the main stage.
Everybody's coming to the big boy table. All looking for that seat at our 10th EPT London final table.
Couple of players looking to keep the title on home soil. While Chip Daddy Jeff Rossiter has got one of the other big stacks on his direct left, Geilich's got a pretty good seat draw with the chance to bully Wagner and Kozlov. Sadly, our qualifier pick, Leo McLean in the 1 seat, is the short stack, with the blind still 15 and 30,000 with a 4,000 ante. Karakusis under the gun with 9-10 off, and he raises.
All right, this guy is not tight. He's like a future Ludovic Geilich. He's a looper.
Shavik folds. Kolisadu has pocket 8s.
This is not a good spot for a 3-bet.
He does re-raise to 135,000.
Unless he somehow knows that Karakusis is getting out of line like a cheap closet door.
Folded around to Kozlov. Pocket 4s. He ditches it. Robin Ulatalo on the button. Mucks. McLean gives up the small blind. Roster folds the big blind. Action back on Karakusis. He calls.
Karakusis is Karalusis. G's, UTG, and OOP, OMFG.
When he flops an up and down straight draw, 8 still ahead for now.
Sadu may feel like he's got to continue, but I think this is a pretty terrible flop for him.
He does continue for 180,000.
Sadu missed, and it smashes his opponent's range like a Gordon Ramsay kitchen nightmare.
Karakoussis calls.
He is playing this great, other than the 2 actions pre-flop.
The turn card. Here's a king. That gives Karakoussis a straight.
Love a check here.
He does check. Will Sadu slow down?
Nerp.
He bets 250,000.
Think the move here is to just call.
All in.
He check raises all in.
Well, the good news is Sadu's got no more opportunity to misplay these 8s.
Is he actually thinking of calling?
I may stand corrected.
No, he folds.
Georgios Karakoussis plays like he's using that 40-card Greek poker deck, and he hits like it is too.
Big money jumps now as we play down to a winner. 6-figure scores for the final 6. Remember, we're 1 elimination away from our official final table and the conclusion of day 5. Karakoussis with a monster. Blinds up to 2040. He raises to 80,000 with aces, and Geilik's got queens. He 3-bets, makes it 170,000.
I'd say there was more of an argument to flat here with queens than before with ace-king, but whatevs, this should be awesome.
Action back on Karakoussis.
I'd 4-bet this if I were him. No one ever seems to believe this guy.
He does. It's a re-raise to 380,000. Geilik just calls in position.
Now he flats.
It's a low flop.
Sweet flop for Karakoussis because Geilik's not getting away from an 8-high board. Not now, not never.
He continues for 300,000.
Doing a great job of just barreling away.
Geilik calls. Ace of diamonds on the turn. Top set now for Karakoussis. Geilik officially drawing dead.
For Geilik, that should make a bet here pretty much a slam dunk fold.
Karakoussis bets 450,000.
What hands would Karakoussis just keep barreling away with that queens are beating? Air's the only hand that makes sense, and Ludo needs to realize he ain't playing against himself.
Geilik calls. There's 2.4 million in the middle. And the river card is a queen!
That is the fat lady, and she is warming up her vocal cords.
Check.
Karakoussis slows down, he checks.
Poor Ludo, this is an easy value bet like you read about.
He bets 750,000.
Karakoussis hates the spade. After a side like that, Ludo's gonna think he's winning.
Call. Call.
He calls and shows the aces.
I think Ludo probably should have folded the turn, but I in no way think he deserved that river. Gross.
Karakoussis, big chip leader once again.
The river is very nice, but for what to make call it.
It'd be interesting if we thought I had the flushing past. C'est la vie. Pretty sick.
Sicker than the stuck in the middle with you scene from Reservoir Dogs. Sicker than this guy.
Phil Hellmuth has come to watch Leo McLean, who knocked him out of the tournament on day 2. Roster raises from the cutoff with 5-4 suited. Karakoussis calls on the button with King 10. Sharvik gives up the small blind. Kalisadu folds the big blind.
Everything normal here so far. How are you?
Top pair for Karakoussis, a flush draw for Rossiter. He continues for 115,000.
Well, this flop should generate more action than summer box office season.
Karakoussis calls. And there is the flush for Rossiter. Waste no time in betting, 240k.
Still don't think Georgios can or should fold in general. If he knows where the hands are, then yes, geez.
He calls. Karakoussis drawing dead. But the queen on the river does give him a straight.
That is just a god-awful run out for Georgios.
Rossiter bets again. He fires a third barrel, 660,000. And Karakoussis calls.
That was the closest spot there in the river. Sometimes he would have been chopping, sometimes he'd be picking off bluffs. Not this time.
Or scratch what I said about Karakusis being big chip leader and apply it to Jeff Rossiter. A stack of nearly 5 million.
Young man, I see you're using those chips well.
I'm trying.
Nice job, nice job.
Cheers.
You were a nice guy. I'm glad to see you make it down there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hell of a grind still. I've still only got
Yeah,
10, 12 bigs, so a long way to go. But